Good morning, Acadiana, and thanks for tuning in to Local News Live, a production of AOC Community Media in partnership with the Acadiana Advocate, our local source of journalism here in the Acadiana area. We're glad to bring you this public service, the reading of the printed news, every Monday through Friday between the hours of 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. on AOC 1 on Cypress Street Radio. You can find that, just Google Cypress Street Radio, or you can find it on AOC Community Media's YouTube page. If you just search for AOC Community Media on YouTube, we are live there every morning as well. We could not bring you this public service without the generous volunteer efforts of our news readers joining us just about every morning when they can and from their home studios, so jumping through all sorts of technical hoops to get on the air with us. And this morning we are so lucky to be joined by Alicia Silv. Alicia, good morning.
Good morning, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm actually directing this from the studio. That's why you might be hearing me behind my mask here. I don't know if it's impeding my speech at all, but thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and listen on Cypress Street. Thanks, and I'll be back at the end of the show. Thanks so much.
All righty. Good morning, Acadiana. I'm going to start with an article titled Lafayette Couple Among Four People Killed in Texas Plane Crash. A Lafayette couple and a Natchitoches couple have been identified as those who died Sunday when their plane crashed in Texas. The Texas Department of Public Safety on Monday confirmed Kenneth Hicks, 59, and his wife, Missy Lynn Hicks, 59, both of Lafayette, and Philip Alkel, 59, and his wife, Pauline Alkel, 58, of Natchitoches were on the plane. There were no survivors, according to the department spokesperson, Sergeant Eric Burse. Kenneth Hicks is listed as the owner of KMAC Bravo, the Lafayette company to which the single-engine Piper PA-46 Malibu is registered. The plane crashed about 10:50 a.m. Sunday near Hilltop Lakes Airport in Hilltop Lakes, Texas, according to the Federal Aviation Administration. The plane was flying out of Austin and returning to Louisiana, according to the Texas Department of Public Safety. A witness told KBTX TV the plane was flying extremely low to the ground, and once the pilot started pulling up, the motor stopped turning. He banked left, almost overcorrected, and then banked right again. And then he banked left one last time, and when he did that second bank to the left, he pretty much nosedived straight vertical into the ground, said Justin DeLeon, a Hilltop Lakes resident. According to the flight track, the plane made it to 18,000 feet altitude before it descended less than an hour into the flight. Kenneth Hicks, who studied law and practiced as an attorney, most recently worked as the CEO of IntegriCert, an oil and gas supplier in New Iberia, according to his LinkedIn page. He also served as president of Shalling Distributing Company from 2006 until 2011. Kenneth Hicks also served 9 years on the board of directors for Our Lady of Lourdes Regional Medical Center, holding the positions of secretary, vice chair, and chairman of the board. He also was a member of the hospital's finance, strategy, governance, and audit leadership committees. We are deeply saddened by the loss of Kenny and Missy Hicks, said Brian Lee, president of Lords, in a statement. Kenny Hicks was a true gentleman and friend. He was his wife. He and his wife will be remembered for their kindness, generous spirit, and dedication to the Acadiana community. Their presence will be genuinely missed in our healthcare ministry. We hold this family close in our hearts and prayers. The University of Louisiana at Lafayette also issued a statement Monday in memory of the Hickses. The Louisiana Department of Athletics mourns the tragic passing of Kenny and Missy Hicks, avid Raging Cajuns fans and supporters for many years. The university statement said, Kenny and Missy were so generous in their support of multiple Louisiana sports programs. Our hearts go to the Hicks family and their friends during this time. Tributes poured in for the victims Monday on social media. Woke up this morning to the sad news that my buddy Kenneth Hicks and his wife Missy died in a plane crash near Waco, Texas yesterday morning, wrote Mitchell R. Landry, a Lafayette lawyer, in a Monday morning Facebook post. Tragic loss for the Lafayette community. Such a great man who was so generous with his time and talent. God bless and Godspeed, Kenny and Missy. You will be missed. Pauline Alco worked as a surgical intensive care unit nurse at Rapides Regional Medical Center in Alexandria, according to a social media post from her co-worker. She also served as a nurse for the Louisiana School for Math, Science, and the Arts, according to a Facebook post by the school's Alumni Association. Kimberly Lowry Wagner called Pauline Alco the team's work mama in a public Facebook post. She always put our patients first, Wagner wrote. She taught me so much as an SICU nurse, and I'm honored to have called her my friend. And moving on to the next article. Legislators to convene in special session. Unemployment slated to be a key topic by Will Centel. The Louisiana legislature will begin its second special session of the year at 6 p.m. September 28th, legislative leaders said on Monday. The gathering, which is being called by lawmakers, can last up to 30 days, and legislators have to adjourn by October 27 at 6 p.m. Senate President Paige Cortez, Representative Lafayette, said one reason for the timing is to avoid finishing to close the general election, which is November 3rd. A key topic for the special session is the state's unemployment trust fund, which has plummeted from more than $800 million to less than $100 million. State law requires that when the trust fund dips below that level, a surtax paid by employers must be imposed on payroll, up to 30% for some businesses. The coronavirus pandemic and resulting job losses has sparked the deep dive in the fund. That is a big issue we have to solve, said Cortez. Otherwise, you're going to have an assessment put on all of the businesses as well as a decrease in the benefits. In a statement, House Speaker Clay Schneider, representative of Gonzales, said the meeting will focus on three topics: Hurricane Laura disaster relief and recovery efforts, ongoing issues with the pandemic, and the state's unemployment trust fund. No one could have predicted or planned for the health, economic, and natural disaster devastation that 2020 has brought to our state and citizens, Schneider said. A special session is needed to address unforeseen problems related to the in-person education of our children and their return to extracurricular activities, the survival of our economy, and the opening up of businesses and the recovery of the areas of our state devastated by Hurricane Laura, he said. But the first three items on the legislative call involve a potentially contentious topic. Democratic John Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards orders on the reopening of Louisiana economy. Some Republican House members have argued that Edwards has been too slow to reopen businesses, restaurants, and other areas. Republicans hold substantial majorities in both the Senate and the House. A significant number of House members have also asked to address the continued proclamations issued by the governor during the pandemic and what many see as an imbalance of power, Schneider said. This special session will not end without a solution to this problem. The governor has said his orders are designed to reopen parts of the economy without sparking a third surge in coronavirus cases. Lawmakers have to round up support from a majority of both chambers, 20 in the Senate and 53 in the House, to call themselves into special session. Cortez said 29 senators and roughly 70 House members have signed onto the effort by 3 p.m. Monday. The special session call will allow lawmakers to file bills on about 70 subjects. Cortez said House and Senate leaders intentionally made the gathering a broad one to avoid missing key topics. He said some lawmakers have pressed for a change to win approval for bills that were buried during the regular and special sessions earlier this year when the pandemic dominated debates. Whether those issues get through, I don't know, Cortez said. It is an expensive call. I just don't know if we will get to all of the issues. Cortez said the capital outlay issues were added to the list of debatable issues in case federal officials offered some form of aid that required state dollars. Unemployment has been one of the key problems triggered by the pandemic. Many of those who lost jobs initially collected $600 in a weekly federal benefits on top of the state aid, which at a maximum of $247 per week is near the bottom nationally. But those $600 benefits ended weeks ago, and congressional agreement on a new package is considered unlikely before the election amid partisan bickering. Some of those unemployed here had been collecting $300 in federal benefits as a stopgap measure on top of the state unemployment benefits, but that too is ending. The dwindling state fund could force borrowing from the federal government or other steps. The legislature's first special session ended just ahead of the start of the current financial year, which began July 1st. It was called to finish work on the state operating budget and other issues after the regular session was interrupted by the early stages of the pandemic. Officials forward LUS audit to FBI. Forensic review found fraudulent transactions by Claire Taylor. Lafayette officials in August sent to the FBI the results of a forensic audit alleging illegalities in the operation of Lafayette Utility Systems Fiber Division. City Parish Attorney Gregory Logan is in an email dated August 12th, asked Evan Patterson, FBI Senior Supervisory Agent, to review the forensic audit ordered by the city and let him know if there appeared to be any federal crimes committed where the statute of limitations had not expired. Most of the allegations, he said in a September 17th email to city and parish council members, occurred in 2011. So the 5-year statute of limitations has expired. Logan also sent the forensic audit results to the Louisiana Public Service Commission and District Attorney Keith Stutes. In In an August 14th email to the Louisiana Legislative Auditor's Office, he wrote that the audit identified fraudulent interdepartmental transactions directed by former LUS and LUS Fiber Director Terry Hoovel. But Stutes said in a letter September 8th he found no basis for criminal charges, suggesting instead that the complaints are administrative and should be handled by the PSC. Other allegations by Lafayette Mayor President Josh Guillory's administration were not supported by evidence presented by Lafayette Consolidated Government, Stutes said. He also noted that the statute of limitations had expired on some of the allegations made by LCG officials against Hoover. Logan, in an email Thursday to city and parish council members, said he had not heard back from the FBI, but would request an update from the agent in charge at the U.S. Department of Justice. City Councilwoman Liz Hebert questioned in an email Wednesday why the administration sent her only one letter from Stutes about the allegations, when Stutes sent two letters to Guillory and Logan, dated August 10th and September 8th. When the forensic audit's results were presented to the council August 18th, the administration had already had the first letter, but it did not provide it when she asked for the district attorney's opinion. Hebert said, based on Stutes' letter saying he found no basis for criminal charges, I believe the LCG owes Mr. Hubel and the other four unnamed employees who were put on administrative leave a public apology. This man's reputation has been ruined on what appears to be a witch hunt. The allegations center around the billing of LUS and LCG departments for fiber serviced by LUS Fiber. Hubel, who was director of LUS and LUS Fiber until he retired in July of 2018, is accused of overcharging LUS and LCG for some LUS Fiber services, some of which were not used to financially prop a struggling fiber division. And in other news, firms assisting Lake Charles Diocese. Laura loss estimated at $60 to $100 million by Ken Stickney. The Catholic Diocese of Lake Charles has selected DCMC Partners and the Lamorne Company of Lafayette to assist with its recovery efforts from Hurricane Laura, which ravaged church properties, mostly in Cameron and Calcasieu parishes 3 weeks ago. The announcement was made last week on the diocese website. The breadth and depth of losses within the diocese are astounding. Stephanie Rodriguez, Director of Temporal Goods at the Diocese of Lake Charles, said, initial estimates are just beginning to come in, but we think the diocese experienced at least $60 to $100 million in losses, maybe more. Damages include destruction of 5 church parishes, while 4 others experienced major damage, the loss of facilities and equipment supporting dozens of service organizations, and significant storm-related impacts across 5 of the 6 schools within the diocese. The diocese said in a statement, because of the unprecedented challenge, it sought outside expert help. It is critical that our many parishes, schools, and service entities get the help they need to return as soon as possible so that we can continue to provide needed services and spiritual support in our communities, said Most Reverend Glenn John Provost, Bishop of Lake Charles, who oversees the activities and spiritual health of the Diocese of Lake Charles. Our decision to hire DCMC Partners and the Lamont Company after a considered competitive process that involved many qualified firms will help us begin our recovery process to fully restore our diocese for today as well as tomorrow. The firms have a long history providing similar services both in Louisiana and nationally. They provide the diocese with project management support and will be responsible for overseeing and executing federal emergency management agency funded projects. DCMC's website says it worked after Hurricanes Katrina, Rita, Gustav, and Ike in Louisiana to help clients secure and manage billions in recovery dollars. The company worked with state agencies, parishes, and nonprofits to develop projects. Lamont Company is a full-service general contracting and construction management firm. It operates from offices in Lafayette, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans. Rodriguez said DCMC Partners and Lamont were among 9 companies to inquire about leading the diocese's efforts to recover. 6 submitted plans. DCMC and Lamont, which offered a joint plan, was chosen based on tallied scores. The companies began work Saturday, reviewing damage at St. Louis High School in Lake Charles. After Hurricane Harvey in 2017, FEMA changed its policies to include some federal funding for religious groups under certain circumstances. In many cases, the government has used houses of worship to shelter people during and after storms. Okay. And the next article is titled Rain Police Probe Fatal Shooting. Rain Police are investigating a shooting that left one victim dead from multiple gunshot wounds. Police Chief Carol J. Stelly told KATC TV detectives the shooting occurred just after midnight Monday on the boulevard at its intersection of Arsenal Drive. Stelly said officers and medical personnel responded to the scene and found the victim with multiple gunshot wounds. The victim was transported by ambulance to a Lafayette hospital, where the person later died. An investigation is ongoing, but Stelly said an arrest is expected. One charged with murder and shooting. Police have arrested a man in connection with the fatal shooting Saturday night in Breaux Bridge. Brock Williams, 27, was booked with second-degree murder, illegal use of weapons, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and possession of a gun in a gun-free zone, according to Breaux Bridge police. The shooting took place near Pecan Villa Apartments on Margaret Street in Breaux Bridge. Police confirmed that one person was shot and later died at a local hospital. Dixie Beer seeks help to rename product. Deadline set to receive more inclusive details by Doug McCash. In June, the management of Dixie Beer announced that the brew would be renamed to eliminate the Old South stigma associated with the brand. Originally, the term Dixie may have been derived from the Mason-Dixie line that once divided the northern part of the country from the southern, or perhaps from $10 bills printed in New Orleans and referred to as Dixies. The word was popularized by a song written for an antebellum era minstrel show that became the anthem of the Confederacy during the Civil War and beyond. For decades, it was a shorthand term for the South. The Dixie Brewery first began producing beer in New Orleans in in 1907 and continued until 2005, when Hurricane Katrina and the subsequent flood caused the operation to relocate out of town. After a 15-year hiatus, Tom and Gail Benson, owners of the New Orleans Saints and New Orleans Pelicans, returned the brand to New Orleans. The New Dixie Brewery in New Orleans East began producing beer in 2020. The Bensons has announced that before they bought the Dixie brand in 2017, they vetted the name to be sure that all members of our community felt the brand was one that represented everyone and they would be proud to welcome back. But as Confederate symbols fell across the South, the name of the beer became less tasteful. Just 5 months after Dixie reappeared in bars and grocery stores across the city, Gail Benson announced that the name of the beer would be retired. With inclusive input from all of our community stakeholders, we are preparing to change the name of our brewery and products, Benson said. Our nation and community are currently engaged in critical conversations about racism and systemic social issues that have caused immeasurable pain and oppression of our Black and Brown communities. In the days following the announcement that the Dixie brand would disappear, sales were brisk at the brewery gift shop, where fans of the iconic beer snapped up baseball caps, t-shirts, serving trays, and other branded merchandise. The brewery has announced when the branding transformation will take place. The brewery has not announced when the branding transformation will take place. Okay. So we're going to move into today in history. Today is Tuesday, September 22nd, the 266th day of 2020. There are 100 days left in the year. Today's highlight in history. On September 22nd, 1862, President Abraham Lincoln issued the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, declaring all slaves in rebel states should be free as of January 1st, 1863. On this date, in 1761, Britain's King George III and his wife Charlotte were crowned in Westminster Abbey. In 1776, during the Revolutionary War, Captain Nathan Hale, 21, was hanged as a spy by the British in New York. In 1949, the Soviet Union exploded its first atomic bomb. In 1961, the Interstate Commerce Commission issued rules prohibiting racial discrimination on interstate buses. In 1964, the musical Fiddler on the Roof, starring Zero Mostel, opened on Broadway, beginning a run of 3,242 performances. In 1975, Sarah Jane Moore attempted to shoot President Gerald R. Ford outside an San Francisco hotel, but missed. In 1980, the Persian Gulf conflict between Iran and Iraq erupted into full-scale war. And in 1989, the Irish Republican Army bombed the Royal Marine School of Music in Deal, Kent, England, killing 11 band members. Songwriter Irving Berlin died in New York City at age 101. In 1993, 47 people were killed when an Amtrak passenger train fell off a bridge and crashed into Big Bayou Canot near Mobile, Alabama. A tugboat pilot lost in fog pushed a barge into the railroad bridge, knocking the tracks 38 inches out of line just minutes before the train arrived. In 2014, the United States and 5 Arab nations launched airstrikes against the Islamic State group in Syria, sending waves of planes and Tomahawk cruise missiles against an array of targets. 10 years ago, Rutgers University freshman Tyler Clementi committed suicide by jumping off the George Washington Bridge into the Hudson River after an intimate gay encounter in his dormitory room was captured by a webcam and streamed online by his roommate without his knowledge. 5 years ago, Pope Francis arrived from Cuba on the first visit of his life to the United States, and President Barack Obama, his wife, and daughters personally welcomed the pontiff at Andrews Air Force Base outside Washington. 1 year ago, Game of Thrones won the Best Drama Series Emmy Award for its final season, tying its record of 12 years in a single year for the third time, while Phoebe Waller-Bridges' Fleabag was comedy's big winner, winning Best Comedy Series and Best Actress for its star and creator. And today's birthdays. Baseball Hall of Fame manager Tommy Lasorda is 93. Dancer, choreographer, singer Tony Basil is 77. Actor Paul Lee Matt is 75. Musician King Sunny Ade is 74. Captain Mark Phillips is 72. Rock singer David Coverdale of Deep Purple, Whitesnake is 69. Actor Shari Belafonte is 66. Singer Debbie Boone is 64. Country singer June Forrester of the Forrester Sisters is 64. Singer Nick Cave is 63. Rock singer Jonette Napolitano is 63. Actor Lynn Herring is 63. Classical crossover singer Andrea Bocelli is 62. Singer-musician Joan Jett is 62. Actor Scott Baio is 60. Actor Catherine Oxenberg is 59. And also actor Bonnie Hunt is 59. Actor Robert Stone is 58. Dan Bucantis of TV 24 Legacy is 55. Musician Matt Sharp is 51. Rock musician Dave Hernandez is 50. Rapper Mystical is 50. Rhythm and blues singer Big Rube of Society of Soul is 49. Actor James Hillier, TV The Crown, is 47. Actor Mario Enos is 45. And actor Daniela Alonso is 42. And now for your zodiacs. Virgo, keep your finances in order and refuse to get involved in joint ventures that have a risk factor. A hasty decision will lead to repercussions. When in doubt, sit tight. Libra, don't back down because someone is enticing you to indulge or is using manipulative tactics to change your mind. Romance is on the rise. Scorpio, leave nothing to chance. Pay close attention to detail and be prepared to make last-minute changes as you move forward. Don't take risk with your health or reputation. Sagittarius, taking on a mental or physical challenge will pump you up and encourage you to make a lifestyle change. Listen to your heart when it comes to love and plan to spend quality time with someone special. Capricorn, if you exaggerate or make promises you cannot keep, you can expect repercussions. A change at home will affect your finances. Don't spend impulsively. Aquarius, an opportunity to use your skills to increase your income looks promising. Be open when someone you love and you'll come up with a plan to spend more time together. Pisces, stick to facts, do whatever it takes to keep the peace. You can be a good listener without meddling. If you offer suggestions, you'll be the one blamed if things don't work out. Aries, keep your opinions to yourself, and someone will offer you enough information to make the best decision regarding your lifestyle and the path to follow. Romance is featured. Taurus, taking an unnecessary gamble will lead to anxiety. Focus on what you can do without jeopardizing your health. You will discover a smart way to live up to your obligations. Gemini, stick to the facts and refuse to let anyone entice you to do something detrimental. Someone will offer a false impression as to how well a person is doing emotionally or financially. Cancer, doing a job to the best of your ability will alleviate criticism. Don't argue with someone who is trying to make you look bad. Take the high road and be discreet. Leo, how you handle situations will dictate the results. Use your charm and give a friendly nudge to someone you need in order to complete your journey. Romance is on the rise. And the horoscope is an entertainment feature and is not based on scientific fact. And going back to our news, trooper wounded in crash faced firing in black man's death by Jim Mustang. A Louisiana state trooper was critically injured early Monday in a single vehicle highway crash that came hours after learning he would be fired for his role last year in the custody death of a black man. Master Trooper Chris Hollingsworth received word Sunday that state police intended to terminate him following an internal investigation into the May 2019 death of Ronald Green, a case that has drawn mounting scrutiny and become the subject of a federal civil rights investigation. Authorities initially said Green died after crashing his vehicle into a tree following a high-speed chase in rural northern Louisiana, but Green's family alleges troopers used excessive force and brutalized him while taking him into custody. State police, despite growing pressure, have repeatedly declined to release body camera footage, and other records related to Green's arrest, citing the ongoing investigations. The crash Monday that critically wounded Hollingsworth happened along Interstate 20 in Monroe shortly before 3 a.m., just hours after the trooper received a letter Sunday of intent for discipline, said Captain Chavis Cameron, a state police spokesman. The intent was to separate him from service and terminate him, Cameron said. Cameron declined to say what exactly prompted the proposed termination, and it was not clear what policies Hollingsworth was accused of violating. Hollingsworth would have the opportunity to appeal any discipline. His attorney has declined to comment on the case. Hollingsworth had been placed on paid leave September 9th, the same day the Associated Press filed a records request for body camera footage of Green's arrest. The controversy deepened last week when Green's family released graphic photographs showing deep bruises and cuts to his face that raised questions about whether Green received those injuries in a car crash, as authorities initially told his family, or when troopers arrested him following the police pursuit. Green's family has filed a federal wrongful death lawsuit alleging troopers brutalized Green, used a stun gun on him 3 times, and left him beaten, bloody, and in cardiac arrest before covering up his actual cause of death. State police have said only that the 49-year-old Green died after resisting arrest and a struggle with troopers who took him into custody. The agency opened an internal investigation into the case last month. Green's death also remains the subject of a civil rights investigation by the FBI and the U.S. Justice Department. A crash report obtained by the AP says Green failed to stop for an unspecified traffic violation and later drove off the road and into a ditch, striking a mailbox, a culvert, and a shrub tree. The report does not mention any use of force by troopers. This cause just doesn't pass the smell test, said Raphael, a former prosecutor who is president of the Metropolitan Crime Commission, a New Orleans-based watchdog group. He called for an investigation of everybody up the chain of command who had been aware of the agency's response to Green's death. Corporal Kevin Reeves, the state police superintendent, also ranked and filed troopers to pray for Hollingsworth, who was listed in critical condition at Ochsner LSU Health in Shreveport. Reeves wrote a note to troopers Monday, obtained by AP, saying Hollingsworth was involved in a serious injury crash while off duty in his personal vehicle. State police brass had convened with the agency's general counsel in Baton Rouge on Friday to discuss whether Hollingsworth had violated the agency's use of force policy, according to law enforcement officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss the ongoing investigation. And now for sports. UL punter Barnes not satisfied with performance despite recognition by Kevin Foote. The overall theme for the 2020 season thus far for the number 19 ranked UL Raging Cajuns applies also to the special teams. It's been good enough to help build a 2-0 start, but not as good as they would like. Take junior punter Rice Barnes, for example. Barnes joined running back Elijah Mitchell as two of the Sun Belt Conference's Players of the Week honorees after Saturday's 34-31 overtime win over Georgia State. Barnes punted 7 times for a 45-yard average, including 3 punts inside the 20-yard line and 2 over 50 yards. Yet he wasn't satisfied with his performance. I didn't feel like I performed great, he said Monday. I felt like I hit a couple of them not as good as I could have, and I didn't have the touch to place it inside the 10 like I would have liked. Too many lines drive as well. I would have liked a bit more hang time over the weekend, he said. I got bailed out by my coverage times, so I'll be working on that. UL coach Billy Napier wasn't content with the placement either, or having to punt 7 times at all. I do think the accuracy of the punts could have been better Saturday in terms of placement, but in general, Rice was a weapon, and he'll continue to be that, he said. Even on his punt that went out of bounds at the 11, Barnes said his goal was to place it at the 5. I think that's from what we put a massive focus on special teams here, calling them game changers, Barnes said. We practice it every day. I think we focus on it a lot more than other teams, and it's showing when we play against them. I feel like our guys are more prepared when we go out there. It's helping us win. Barnes gave credit to snapper Paul Boudreaux and gunner Percy Butler for their help. Paul Boudreaux snaps unbelievably, Barnes said. I seriously think he's the best snapper in the country. If you watch him snap the ball, it's crazy how accurate he is and how quick he gets it back. And then to have Percy Butler as flyer is a blessing. You never have to worry with him. You can line drive them, and the punt team covered really well. So they bailed me out a lot. After five relatively disappointing quarters, running the football midway through Saturday's overtime road win, the Cajuns' vaunted rushing attack finally began looking like itself with a second half explosion that resulted in 240 yards rushing in the game. Mitchell ended up with 164 rushing yards to earn Sunbelt Offensive Player of the Week honors. I think it's a cumulative effect of all those combined, Napier said. I think picking from the right stuff, playing a little better fundamentally, better communication, better fundamentals, adjusting to the type of players they had, and also their plan, their fronts, and their movements. In other words, Mitchell's running figures go much deeper than his individual effort. You start with the offensive line, Napier said. Everybody always wants to talk about the offensive line, but in reality, the way we do it, the quarterback's got to make the right decisions. He's got to hand the he's got to hand the ball off, throw the ball, read this defender. You always have to do a really good job on the edges of the formation at tight end. You have to do a good job blocking at wide receiver. A lot of our issues are the collective effort of the offense. I think we've got to get to a point where every position group we can turn the tape on where we're not going 8 for 11, 9 for 11, 10 for 11 on plays. We need more plays when all 11 players are doing exactly right. That's what we as coaches and players are working on as we speak. Napier said veteran players need to play better, newcomers need to grow, and we need to coach better across the board. After having 9 players not make the trip to Atlanta on Saturday because of COVID-19 testing, Napier said he wouldn't update the situation until Wednesday evening. But that issue is certainly a major topic on the mind of this Saturday's opponent, Georgia Southern. The Eagles had 33 players affected in the week, one nail-biting 27-26 win over Campbell, and Georgia Southern's game against Florida Atlantic this past weekend was postponed a day before the game because of COVID outbreak with the Owls. I do think we did a really good job on Friday before the game of flipping the switch and getting a good practice on that day and really moving on to the next one. Georgia Southern coach Chad Lunsford said. Obviously, they were disappointed in not getting to play and not being able to play on ESPN. You can always get better for game 1 to game 2, and we didn't get that opportunity. It's unclear exactly how many of Georgia Southern's 33 were actually positive tests or how many are scheduled to be back for Saturday's 11 a.m. contest at Cajun Field on ESPN2. I know everybody in the country is dealing with it and dealing with it in their own way, Lunsford said. I don't look at it as something that's unique to us, but looking forward to, knock on the wood, if everything goes well, getting the majority of our guys back and being ready to play Saturday. The Cajuns will be at Cajun Field for the first time Saturday after starting out 2-0 on the road for the first time in the program's history. UL's athletic department announced its home game coronavirus restrictions last week, including a 25% capacity, or roughly a little more than 10,000 fans. The game is scheduled for 11 a.m. on ESPN2 with Beth Mowens play-by-play, Kirk Morrison color, and Don Davenport sideline or the broadcast team. I don't know yet, Napier said. I think there are a lot more distractions when you're at home, but I also think there's a certain comfort level when you're home. It's probably a scratch in my opinion. I know this. We take tremendous pride in playing in our place. We spend a lot of time training in there and practicing in there. And I think that comfort may overweight some of the logistical issues with COVID-19 and getting tickets for your family and all of those types of things. And I'm sorry, I did skip the deaths for the Acadiana area, but I'll go over those now. Curly Domain services will be held at the St. Genevieve Catholic Church in Lafayette at 1 p.m. Mary Earls services will be at Immaculate Heart of Mary Catholic Church at 2 p.m. And Dr. David Naveet to be held at Our Lady of Wisdom Catholic Church in Lafayette at 10 a.m. And now I'm going to read some PSAs. Requests for mosquito control now available through Lafayette 311, mosquito prevention and safety. Lafayette Consolidated Government is increasing mosquito abatement efforts in the parish following Hurricane Laura. An increase in mosquito activity is a common occurrence following a storm event. Citizens noticing an influx in mosquitoes in their area can now use the Lafayette 311 portal to request service. All submitted requests are routed directly to Mosquito Control Services, the mosquito control contractor for the parish. The downtown Toot and Scoot Shrimp Ball is only a week away. This fundraiser for downtown Lafayette, presented by Moss BMW, will have shrimp and beverages toot and scoot style on the streets surrounding Park San Souci. This drive-through pick-up party also offers a live DJ set by DJ Digital, a mobile old snap booth, photo booth company, and the chance to rip tails and enjoy a live stream pickup experience with lovers of downtown Lafayette. Tickets for the ball include 1 pound of premium jumbo shrimp with all the fixings and beverages, including soda, wine, and beer. For more information, contact Maureen Dugas Foster, Director of Downtown Lafayette, at maureen@downtownlafayette.org. The Illustrated Cafe and Downtown Tourism Kiosk. Unique opportunity for DLU members to be a part of an upcoming exhibition in downtown Lafayette. From October to January, the Illustrated Cafe will serve as a public art installation in the cafe at the Acadiana Center for the Arts. The cafe is designed to look like a line drawing that visitors can walk inside, a cartoon-like world created by artist Aileen Bennett. The installation is a black and white drawing in 3 dimensions with real tables and chairs, fanciful illustrations, and objects galore. There will also be a downtown tourism kiosk to help visitors navigate and learn more about downtown. The installation will open October 10th for downtown Lafayette's second Saturday Art Walk and will run for a minimum of 3 months, including special holiday editions for Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Completely integrated into the project, there will be maps, advertising postcards, and stationary advertising that provide a much desired information hub to share with visitors in the thriving downtown area. What you will receive: your business's postcard, designed by Aileen Bennett, will be featured in the Illustrated Cafe's visitor hub. Visitors will also be able to take home custom designed cards free throughout the 3-month duration of the exhibition. This is a unique opportunity for businesses to receive a personalized piece of art for inclusion in a fantastical viewer experience. Contact the Acadiana Center for the Arts today at acadianacenterforthearts.org. Acadiana Symphony Orchestra takes the virtual stage. The Acadiana Symphony Orchestra announces that they are shifting the fall portion of ASO 36 revival season, September to December, to a virtual live stream platform. ASO believes that this is the unquestionable solution to keeping our community safe while still providing opportunities for local musicians to share their passion and earn income despite mandated restrictions and uncertain venue viability. Acadiana Symphony Orchestra has and will always remain committed to providing outstanding performances to Acadiana and fueling the cultural economy of our region. Symphonies, businesses, and organizations across the country are having to rethink, retool, and reinvent. We are no different. So thank you for your grace and your patience as we map out the next few months. We're looking tirelessly behind the scenes to solidify plans for these virtual concerts, and it is our commitment to you that we clearly and concisely communicate ASO 36 revival season details in the coming weeks. At a minimum, we are certain that you will receive the highest quality live streaming performance, which you can enjoy virtually anywhere. And here's the lineup. For Triumph, Friday, October 23rd, 2020, that will be a virtual performance. Transform, Friday, November 13th, virtual performance. Believe, Thursday, December 17th, virtual performance. Adore, Friday, February 12th of 2021, to be at the Acadiana Center for Arts. Empower, Friday, April 16th, 2021, held at the St. John's Cathedral. And Revive, Thursday, May 13th of 2021, will be held at St. Mary's Church. Okay. Another PSA, AOC teams up with the United Way of Acadiana for Learn United. The United Way of Acadiana has teamed up with AOC and other local educational groups for Learn United, bridging the digital gap to provide educational resources for households that don't have internet but do have a television. The Learn United programs air weekdays from 8 to 2 on AOC2, Cox 16, LUS 4, and streaming at aocinc.org/watch. For the daily schedules and to submit content for the program, visit the United Way of Acadiana website, unitedwayofacadiana.org/learn-united. Keeping calm through COVID hotline. If you are feeling overwhelmed with stress, fear, and anxiety about the uncertainty surrounding this public health emergency, there is a special Keeping Calm Through COVID hotline you can call. This connects you to trained, compassionate counselors who can offer support and who can direct you to mental health and substance abuse counseling services. Trained counselors available 24/7. All calls are confidential. Call 1-866-310-7977. Medicaid resources. Medicaid is now covering coronavirus testing for Louisiana residents without insurance. This coverage is available to people without insurance who are Louisiana residents until the end of the federal public health emergency. You must also be a U.S. citizen or meet immigration status requirements to qualify. If you need to find a doctor near you doing testing, dial 211. If you have questions, call us at 1-888-544-7996. You can apply for coverage in the doctor's office so that you do not have to pay for testing. When you go to get tested, the provider may ask you to apply for Medicaid. They will help you fill out the simple form. And here's a note, providers must accept Medicaid if seeking coverage under this option. You can get the application at www.healthy.la.gov, a provider, or you can submit the paper application by email, fax, or mail. You can also call 1-888 544-7996 to apply over the phone. You can send completed paper by email. The email is COVID uninsured at la.gov, or you can fax your completed application to 1-866-852-0415. You can also mail your application into COVID uninsured applications at P.O. Box 64808, Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70806. You will have to fill out this form once, even if you need multiple coronavirus tests. Coverage begins 3 months before application date and will stay in place through the end of the coronavirus events. And this has been your news for this Tuesday, September the 22nd. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.